Hello and welcome back to Seagulls Social, Season 2, Episode 32. Whee!
Hooray! That was the most forced way ever, I think.
Yeah, I know, honestly. What are we going to do? We're just going to say the same-ish again. You know, 2 seasons ago, we had so many shots, so many on target, but we don't score goals. And it's still happening.
It makes me feel sick. Last week I said I'm an F1 fan. I've converted. I think now I'd even watch bloody badminton at this rate. Then watch Brighton play. The ball hit the net
in badminton more than we fucking do. That's for sure, man.
It's a tough time to.
Do you know what? I'm going to be really positive on this podcast, and I'm not going to be delusional. But I've taken the criticism and I've risen, and I've thought, you know what?
The Phoenix.
We Phoenix from the ashes.
We actually played all right second half, right? Second half, we actually at least we created chances.
We played well.
We actually played pretty well.
I don't know. It's just we can't score.
But there's a big problem, and I don't want to keep going over it because we're not in 2020 or 2021 anymore. But yeah, we can't score goals, and that's the biggest problem at the minute. We'll get onto it in a minute, but yeah, there is still a bit of positivity just off of that, but I'm really scraping the barrel. I've got to be honest.
It's difficult. I know what you're kind of alluding to. You say like Neil Maupay had so many decent chances. Well, a lot of the players had good chances, but I mean, I know your laptop's going off on air, Ryan. So I'll ask Maz this question, but
pretty much.
Will on Twitter basically said, Maz, Maupay doesn't really deserve the heat that he gets because he's won us so many points this season for us. So do you agree? Should he not get criticised because of his recent performances or his performances this season?
I mean, look, I think when you criticise any player, it's always going to put sort of unnecessary pressure on them. Like as in, you know, if the whole fan base goes against a player, it's not good, is it? Like you don't want you don't want your own fans going against you. That's like the you know, you never want that as a fan base, as a player, as a club, like, you know, the higher ups. However, I think sometimes it's it's due. It's warranted. So I'm not saying just because he missed a penalty we should be going, oh, he's crap, get him out of the club, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. But I think sometimes, if a player's underperforming, I think it's only right for us to give our opinion and say, oh yeah, like he's going for a bit of a bad patch. And I think it's, I wouldn't just single out Maupay. I could pick out 5 or 6 players that have been underperforming. You know, look at Bissouma, look at who else we got? Like even Trossard at times, you know, he can go missing. Like there's more than just Maupay that's the problem or the issue. So I feel like scapegoating, to answer your question, I feel like scapegoating Maupay is not the way to go because he's not the only one who's been underperforming or not been getting goals, whatever. You can look at the whole team. You know, what was it on Saturday? We had 26 shots or something stupid?
31 shots, 4 on target. And it's mad. So we were saying that Neil was probably won us like 12 points on his own. But then obviously when he's like, we get the first big chance was like 20 minutes in when Trossard kind of backheeled it to Cucurella. Cucurella drives it along the box, or March, crosses it into the box, I think. And Neil Maupay like has a scuff volley at it, and it literally just like, it's almost like a pass to Welbeck in the end. Like, he scuffs it so bad, and you're thinking, how are you scuffing it like that? And then there was actually a penalty claim following that. Welbeck hits the ball, and then it hits that Giannis guy's arm. But I don't know, Ryan, did you think that was a penalty, or do you think that would have been?
I shouted handball everything, so
I want everything.
Desperate times.
I literally was like handball, literally at any given moment. But then the one time we actually did get a handball, we missed a penalty anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
That was such a crazy handball, wasn't it? Though? Sam Burrows, anyway, he was like trying to hit it away like a basketball player to defend.
This is how bad we are. Yeah, Norwich were playing volleyball and we still can't score a goal. Do you know what I mean? That's how bad we are. Like they were literally playing volleyball in the box, and they're like, "Here you go, lads, just have a free shot on goal."
They had more touches with their arms in our box than they did with their feet in our box, didn't they? They were pony.
And the penalty just hit the target, mate. Just hit the target. Like if as long as you hit the target, and even if the keeper saves it, I'll be like, fair enough. Tim Krul, very good penalty. Like he's got a really good track record with saving penalties. So I'm like, okay, fair enough. Tim Krul saved it. Yeah, all good. But when a player, no matter who it is, like remember Riyad Mahrez against Liverpool when he put it into orbit. Like it doesn't matter who you are or where you do it, just get it on target. Just get it on target. Make the keeper at least make a save or do something. Don't just fucking wallop it over the bar. That was just that was the most frustrating thing I think for me. It's like players miss penalties all the time. It's not a problem. but it's the manner you do it. That's what frustrated me.
He did have loads of lasers on him though, didn't he, Neil? It was pretty unfortunate for him. I cannot believe. I literally popped that image, a screenshot from YouTube on Photoshop, got the green pen tool, put it on like 50 opacity, just brushed it all over Neil Maupay, and then put it on Twitter straight away. And the fact that some Norwich fans were being like, thinking that we've done it on purpose is actually like out them for it. I was like, are you actually mental?
Yeah, I saw one fan who was like, was like, this is embarrassing from Seagulls Social. And I was like, it's fake, mate. It's literally
it's embarrassing that you think it's real, mate. Honestly. And then I think one Brighton fan might have thought it's real, and then he also blamed Tim Krul. He said, one, they should have retaken the penalty because of the lasers, and two, they should have retaken it because Tim Krul was being unsportsmanlike. But I didn't see Tim Krul doing it, and I know he does.
I agree, mate. I think you're right. I think we should have retaken the penalty because the lasers were so ridiculous. I don't know why it wasn't retaken. So
I
agree with him.
On the Tim Krul thing, actually, Ben, it's a good point. Actually, I remember now. Yeah, because he proper went into his face. He started giving him he was proper going into him. I remember because I was watching on the stream, and they obviously had a good angle. He was going into his face, like screaming at him, saying stuff, and then he even, as he was walking backwards, he stopped for a bit and sort of like looked at him, pointed a little bit, and then went back into his goal. Which, look, gamesmanship for me is part and parcel of the game. I think if we got rid of that, it'd be boring. Football would be boring, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't have that bit of shithousery, a bit of that, but then, I don't know. Me personally, I got nothing wrong with it. Like Tim Krul's just getting into Maupay's head, and it clearly worked. Like, he's clearly worked for him. But it's when you if he start getting physical, whatever, that's obviously crossing the line. But if you're just using verbals and like, a bit of pointing here and there, shaking the bar, I don't see anything wrong with that.
And he was really good against us, wasn't he, on Saturday? He obviously had a point to prove because he never kind of really broke into the team when he was at us on loan from Newcastle. But he made some really, really good saves, albeit some of them were straight at him. But still, Veltman even took out his frustration by literally pushing him back to the ground.
Yeah, the header. Funny, that was a good save, yeah.
And then he had another chance literally after that when it was a volley, and then Krul saved it again, I believe. But
I do like Tim Krul. I don't get why we got rid of him actually, because at the time it was him below Matty Ryan.
He's too good for a second.
For the life of
that's me, the thing,
but I couldn't understand why he was our second at the time. He was behind Matty Ryan, wasn't he? I mean, he was better than Ryan by a mile at the time, and we always said it whenever he got a chance. Like everyone always said that Tim Krul is better than being number two. But anyway, he's done well for Norwich anyway. But no, my thing I wanted to talk about Maupay because he's been getting a lot of stick, but then at the same time, to be fair, and this is credit to our fans, and I think Potter did come out and thank him as well, that he obviously got subbed off. He had to walk around the North Stand, and obviously everyone was singing his song "Hey Neil Maupay," and considering he had such a rough day out, I mean, to be fair, overall he probably didn't play that badly, but I think the chances he missed were awful at times.
What he gets judged on, he was done poorly on, unfortunately. But he did make a few decent chances. Yeah,
there's a few good hold-ups and stuff like that, but that doesn't really matter in fans' opinions. But no, like, to be fair to our fans, everyone sung his name as he come off, and, hopefully that Neil's got that message that, it's not like it was a couple of years ago, everyone's completely on his back. We are still supporting him through it, because obviously he's quite a emotional character, and Maupay sort of goes up and down quite a lot, but yeah, he had the backing, and I rated that from the Brighton fans singing his song. But what I wanted to say about Maupay's penalty, because I don't get why he was on it in the first place. I mean, obviously it's easy to say in hindsight, but I thought McAllister probably had the best game.
Because he had it in
the few now.
Yeah, but I was Pascal, at the Sports thing.
He's missed it before, though, isn't he? So
Robbie's brother,
I think it should have been
Laurie,
McAllister.
He asked me, he was like, so who's going to take the penalty, Ben? I was like, that's a whole conversation itself. Literally, we've probably got 3 penalty takers on there, and there isn't an official one. It's normally kind of decided there and then on the day, which is I don't know that at all.
I think that's nail on the head though, Ben. It's like, why as fans do we not know who the penalty taker is? And like, it must be within the team as well. If they're thinking like, right, who's taking this, boy?
Yeah, who's taking it?
Surely you should have one person, like, through thick and thin. I agree with Ryan. I like McAllister on it. I think he's a cool character. I feel like he, 9 times out of 10, he'd put it in the back of the net. Obviously, with the track record we've got, Pascal Gross has missed a few. Obviously, Maupay now has missed a few. Like, just I don't know. We need one designated penalty kick taker and just stick with it. No matter what happens, just stick with them. And if
Pascal missed it against
give them like
Palace,
3 or 4 in a row sort of thing, and then just if they bottle all of them, then fair enough. Then take them off.
Exactly.
I think like Maupay is not warranted to stay on the next one. I didn't think Pascal Gross warranted to stay on that one. I think it should have been McAllister, to be honest, or maybe even Trossard, because he scored against someone, didn't he, as well, a few weeks ago. I say that, I can't actually remember who it's against.
I can't remember.
Brentford or something like that. Maybe not. I can't remember who it was now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he scored a penalty. Might be wrong. But yeah, my point is, the incompetence up front is so clear to see in it. And we've said it for so long. We've said it for the last year and a half doing this podcast. Everyone says it on Twitter. Everyone says it everywhere you go around the Amex. You walk out of the ground, people talking about our forwards. Anyone that's a pundit will say exactly the same thing too. If we don't get a striker, this is a big question that I want to ask. If not just a striker, but some forwards as well, like some wingers, a bit more attacking flair up front. It's gone past the point of just getting in a centre forward. We need actually some help on the wings, and we also need some help. Just chance creation as well seems to have taken a bit of a hit. I know we did create some big chances in this game, but of late we haven't done as much as we did last season. If we don't get anyone in this summer, which I think we will, does it then beg the question for Graham Potter? I'm thinking of how to word this carefully. Does he just walk? Because do you just think, do you know what? As Graham Potter, I've had enough. Like, I can't do another season of just no disrespect to him, but Maupay and Trossard and...
But Ryan, we bought a £6 million striker in from a Belgium team, so he's obviously going to change everything and win us loads of games, isn't he?
But genuine question though, Ben. What do you think?
I've got an answer. Yeah. So no, this is actually I was thinking about this last night. Actually, really weirdly, that shows how sad I am sometimes. But I was actually thinking about the whole Potter situation, and I genuinely, this is my belief. I think genuinely, Graham Potter. Don't get me wrong. He's got his what do you call it, imperfections, and he does sometimes make the odd decision which I don't really agree with or I think is a bit strange. However, I feel like he's massively being let down by the players. Simple as that. Simple as that. Like, exactly. The higher ups, the ones helping him, fund the transfers, whatever. But I genuinely believe, like, what more can he do if Maupay steps up for a penalty and skies it over the bar? What can Graham Potter physically do?
People were saying that's his fault for picking
what can he do?
Yeah, how can he physically do anything more than that? Like, okay, cool. If you don't agree with his selections, if you don't agree with his substitutions sometimes, which I don't sometimes, some of the subs he makes, like, and when he makes them, like, for example, Sarmiento should have come on a bit earlier for me because he was class when he came on. Like, why not bring him on 70th minute, 80th minute? He can actually have an impact on the game. But anyway, back to the question. Yeah. Just to complete. I feel like he's being let down by the players. It's not Graham Potter's fault. He's a very good manager, and we know that. We know what he can do with a good squad, and when he's able to actually field his strongest 11. I just feel like he's been massively let down by the players. The players just aren't doing it.
So does he? I mean, if I was Potter, I'd be out the door already, to be honest. So but would you be thinking,
I've got a point on that though. Like, I don't think if I was Potter and I was really selfish and just thinking about myself, I would be worried because the team that I'm working under has lost 6 on the bounce and then only just drawn against Norwich. His stocks are going down, and unless our performances pick up towards the end of the season, what team will want Potter right now? Because like even 442 done an article recently saying like what he's achieved, and that's a whole conversation in itself. But they were saying that he was backed at Austin, so he was inevitable that he was going to climb up all the leagues and get to Europa or whatever. And then obviously in Swansea, is the quarter-final in the FA Cup warranted as an achievement? I think it is. And obviously changing style of play for us. And he didn't have
any team either.
And then keeping us up, I think that's an achievement. But some people don't say it's a trophy, so it's not an achievement. So some clubs will probably scrutinise him and say, well, should he manage our club? Because what has he actually done?
Maybe if you're looking at the top 4 then, fine. But I think even if you're looking at sort of your Leicesters and your mid to higher end table of teams, from Wolves downwards to about 10th, I think any of those clubs, maybe not Wolves now, they've got a very good manager by the looks of it, but most of those clubs would take Potter in a heartbeat. I mean, Brendan Rodgers is probably on borrowed time at the minute anyway.
Yeah, I think that's probably the more realistic one I can see.
Those sort of teams, and I just think that Leicester is probably going to get a lot more backing. I'm not, by the way, linking him to Leicester or anything. I'm not saying it's going to happen or anything, but I'm just using it as an example. But I just don't get why we've gone this long now of not backing him in the summer, not backing him in the winter.
But Ryan, it's a difficult one because you're saying we didn't, and I get that. There's the two sides of it. So saying we didn't back him because we didn't actually achieve signing any marquee signings, but we tried. We tried. So we tried to get Nico Gonzalez, we tried to get Darwin Núñez, but we failed. So we obviously did try, and we did try to back him, but the board failed backing him. If that makes sense.
Fair enough. Yeah, but then that comes down to then recruitment and all that sort of another conversation. But then again, you can look at that and say, well, why didn't we go for more realistic signings? Going for Darwin Núñez when he clearly wasn't interested in us, and now he's in the semi-finals of a Champions League. He's absolutely right in
quoted 70 mil for Liverpool now. Like we could have gone for 35 mil, which now just seems like
we
wouldn't have gone
for 35 mil, would we?
Because we had the opportunity. We had the opportunity to.
My point is, he was never going to come. He was never interested. So why are we going for players that weren't interested? Nico Gonzalez clearly wasn't interested in coming to Brighton. He went to Fiorentina. We're looking at unrealistic signings that were never actually going to happen. Obviously, I can't speak for the rest of the transfers because I don't know what happens behind the scenes. But it begs the question as to why other clubs can do it, but why can't we? And obviously, I'm not going to again slate that, but I just think I don't get the logic, because now obviously we've got so much pressure on the summer. There's so much pressure, and I put that article out a while ago, and now Andy Naylor's funny enough put an article out pretty much the same. So it goes to show it is a general thing. Even journos are saying the same now. It is such a massive summer.
Football hipsters are getting on his back, and probably the club's back now. But sorry, on that, Ryan, though, when do we get to the point? And Joe Sayer said it. When do we get to the point where you do start saying, well, if we keep losing games, managers have gone for losing 3 games in a row. If Potter ends up losing even more now, or the club do, then when does the questions of him potentially being sacked come into play? Are we too scared to get on Potter's back because he's the best we've got and there's literally no one out there that could replace him?
The questions go to Potter when he's got the tools to do the job. You can't judge him when he hasn't got the tools. I mean, it's like putting me, I don't know, to build a house, and then, I try and build a house and I can't do it. And it's like, well, obviously I can't, because I can't build a house. You know what I mean? But if you put me on a podcast, do a pretty decent job of it. So, I can't build a house, but I can run a podcast. And that's the difference. You play to your strengths. And I think with Potter, he hasn't been given the tools. He hasn't got what's required of him to do what he needs to do.
We were, in your words, building houses, a lot of houses at the beginning of the season. It was working, but obviously it's kind of not working.
Yeah, I think that's massively down to key players going missing now. So Bissouma has obviously fallen off a cliff. His form from especially since the Spurs game in the FA Cup, his form's just declined massively. Then we've had who else in key areas? Maupay sort of fallen off. Obviously, he saved us a lot of points in the those last minute sort of equalisers
in front of goal,
100%. Yeah, front of goal. And then I just feel like the players just aren't performing. And obviously, look, Webster getting injured was not ideal. Dunk getting suspended, coming back from injury, then getting suspended didn't help. Defensively, we just haven't been as solid. That foundation we had before from defence, that building block going forward, it's just been dismantled because of injuries, suspensions, whatever it might be. So I personally can't. I don't blame Potter personally.
No.
I just don't think he's had the tools, if we use Ryan's analogy, he hasn't had the tools to make a house. You know what I mean?
And to back you on that, here's the 3 stats to back you on the fact that we don't have the tools to be able to do what we can do. So Opta done yesterday said 18. Brighton yesterday against Norwich became the first team to have 18 shots off target in a Premier League game since Chelsea in February 2011 against Fulham when they also had 18. Very wayward. And what's the next stat we've got? Well, that's just fucking mental, by the way.
Yeah, that is
Andy Naylor said a good one, and this completely backs up the fact that we need another striker, a clinical one. Goals against, we're joint 6th in the league, which is pretty good for us. And then goals for is 18th. 18th out of the 20 teams in the Premier League.
That's
it's just really, really not good enough. And then where's the last one? Bear with me. Here we go. So Lee BHAFC said, since the Man United game, we've had 101 shots and only 1 has gone in over the last 7 games.
Oh my
And then
God.
someone said, and then it goes, out of those 101 shots, only 15 of them were on target.
That is awful.
That's really bad.
Fans have a go at us and say, well, every club wants a clinical striker, but we need a clinical striker so bad.
But
that's bad.
Every fan base says it. They're literally, whenever we, I'm sure all of us can say this. It's like whenever we go to any kind of fan channel, or any kind of other football podcast, whatever it might be, literally every single thing that gets said to me is like, "Oh, you lot would be amazing if you had a good striker." It's like, we know. We're like, I don't understand. Like, this is not revolutionary. We're not. You're not telling me something I'm not aware of. Like,
it's like Harry Potter would be a good wizard if he had his wand. That's
do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's
you literally need to watch like one Brighton game to come to that conclusion. It's
exactly.
Just like,
but it's like we all know what the problem is. We all know what we need it to be solved. But for some reason, it just feels like the club doesn't seem to be able to get it over the line. I'm not saying they're not trying, because like we just mentioned, we've tried with the strikers, Nunes, Gonzalez,
we're
whatever.
We're just looking in the wrong places. So we're not. We're doing something. There's something going wrong. Well, obviously, we're not doing something right, are we?
Yeah, exactly.
If we're doing something right, we wouldn't be having these conversations for the past year and a half. I mean, the first side of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and thinking you're going to get a different result.
Yeah.
And that's
like this podcast at the moment. It's the same thing over and over again.
Over and over again.
I think we're talking about different stuff at the moment, and so obviously again on Saturday we actually did have loads of chances, and like if you look at the chances I wrote down there, so many in that second half, especially like you mentioned, Ryan, and it's just so blatantly obvious that all we need is that striker. And then on the kind of chances created, things like that, this is mental what I've read today. So Graham Potter said that the fans should stop shouting "shoot" as it disrupts the build-up play.
Wasn't that out of context though? Like I read the context.
No, and then I read the actual kind of thing. He did essentially pretty much say that. And so my mate Jamie then replied in our chat saying, "So do we need to start shouting 'score' instead then, or 'shoot' on target?" And I was like, if I'm worried that if we do stop shouting "shoot," then it's just going to be even more of a library.
Okay, hold on. One thing I will say back to that is, and I appreciate if it is out of context, I apologise. But
it's not really. He essentially did say that it's kind of distracting the build-up play.
So I'm not being funny. These are professional footballers. These are not Sunday League fucking amateurs on the pitch. If someone goes to Bissouma, jump off a cliff, is he going to do it? Like, I'm sorry. I think that's awful. Like, what do you mean? Like, what? So because someone says shoot or pass it or cross it, that means all the players are going to listen to the fans? No, of course they're not. Like, what? I
think the point that Potter was trying to make, like when I read the context, is that he's trying to say that fan pressure does get to the players after it does build up, but I don't. There's only one criticism of Potter that I said there's only one, but the main sort of thing that does annoy me is when he does have these little hit backs at fans, and he's done it a lot over the last couple of years. It's caused controversy, especially amongst sort of the older fan base that have been going to games. You don't want to see a manager giving hitting back at fans sort of thing. History lessons is another comment, and he's questioned the atmosphere a lot as well, which is right to do so. The atmosphere is not great, but at the same time, you need to give something back to us, because it's all well and good saying, "Oh, look, the fans don't sing. Oh, the fans are getting on our backs." But if you keep missing 31 chances, then what do you expect us to do? We're not going to sit there and be like, "Oh, it's okay, good effort." I'm going to be like, "God's sake, how can't you score that?" I score that in my garden, so I'm joking. But
I just
think like, I just think to myself though sometimes. I just think like there is something seriously wrong. As I said, there's a big thing in the summer, and there was a point I was going to make, and it's completely gone up my head now. But yeah, it's just.
But even like Alan Shearer on a Match of the Day, Ryan, even he was like, it's just the same thing every week with Brighton. So many chances, and they just never take them, and that's literally all they kind of done on Brighton. But if the fact that even Match of the Day are saying we can't really say the same shit over and over again every single week after a Brighton game, and it's fucking mental. But Maz, what do you kind of think on Potter saying that about the fans, that we shouldn't shout shoot?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I just think, it's ridiculous. Like, fans... Okay, fair enough. Fans, sometimes, they say... Like, honestly, the stuff you hear in the terraces, sometimes I just think, what is going on? Like, it's bad. Some of the stuff that fans say and do. But that's just part and parcel of the football. Like, every stadium you go to, you're going to have these idiot fans or these weird fans that will, like, think they're their manager on the sideline. Do you know what I mean? They're going to stand in the terraces and shout, like, thinking they're Graham Potter. So I think you just got to have to suck it up. I'll be honest, like, I'm not bringing up how much they get paid or whatever, but they're professional footballers getting paid quite not handsomely. I think someone shouting shoot is not going to hinder performance, and if it does, that is very worrying. if that hinders performance, I'm very worried. So I don't know. It feels like a bit of a cop out, a bit of a weird sort of excuse.
Does it almost? If that's the case, though, like we're saying about all this, and does it worry you about the the morale of the side, the mentality of the side, because it worries me. I've got to be honest. I looked across the board. This is what I was actually the point I was going to make. I just remembered. I look across the board, and it feels like we've got a lot of individuals now. We don't really have that team feel anymore. No one's going out there to really play for each other.
There's no more.
No, we're not really going out there to play for each other. And if we're now saying, look, you can't get on the players' backs because they're going to feel pressured by it, but I'm sorry, but that's a mentality problem. Then I mean, I'm not saying the direct quote was right. I know it was slightly out, but the point of the quote was, he's saying about fan pressure getting to players. That's a mentality problem.
It must be quite negative morale in the camp for him to kind of back up or trying to protect the players from such a usual thing that you see in any single stadium.
Don't get me wrong, there are certain things that push the boundaries, but even still, you're right in saying, they're millionaires. They're being paid thousands of pounds a week. I'd die to be in their position for nothing. I would play for Brighton every single week for no money, let alone 30, 40, 50 grand a week. And it just does my head in, because you watch them all and it just feels like we've got a real team of individuals. It looks like the season's over. And I was even I watched the highlights back, and I was watching, Dunk coming up for the corners and stuff, and he doesn't even look like he's like, oh, come on, let's go. He's just sort of wandering up there. And you've got Trossard, just kicking the ball over quite deftly a little bit, and then just wanders back and you've got Gross just stepping up and puts his arm up, and then the cross goes in, it hits the first man, and it comes back out again, they clear it. And you just think, that it just doesn't look like anyone's really like, oh yeah, come, we're going to go score.
No one's arse, really. And it does look like
it's a bit like, and then we'll pass it back to Sanchez, and he'll kick it back to Cucurella, and then we'll try another cross at it first man.
That's why the fans, I think that's why if I'm worried if we don't say shoot, they're just going to keep passing it around the box until we get dispossessed, because it does get tiring sometimes watching them just kind of pass it around, wait for space. And when you've got a team like Norwich, they had literally had bodies in front of the goal. That was the only, that's why every single shot was block, because they had so many defenders constantly in front of the ball and in front of the goal. It just made it so hard for us. But sorry, you mentioned Trossard, Brian. I think before we done the Norwich preview, it came out that he said he was open to leaving. And obviously he's been out of form recently, so fans kind of were like, good riddance and all that sort of stuff. But he did play well on Saturday, created a few decent chances, albeit against the worst team that's ever turned up to the Amex in the Premier League era. But, I mean, Maz, will start off you. What would you make of him saying that he'd be open to offers? And two, would it be a big miss if he did leave?
Do you know what? I don't know, this could be controversial. I don't think it will be that big of a miss. Look, on his day, he's a great player. Probably arguably one of our best players. Definitely top 3 on his day. Obviously, Belgium international. For Belgium, he usually plays really, really well. He's got a lot about him. He's a great little dribbler, great bit of skill. But then, I'll be honest. I feel like he's definitely replaceable. And if we get 35, was it quoted 30 million? I think it was 30 to 35. I think was quoted.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, something around that figure. If we can get that kind of figure, I'll be more than happy with that. I'll take that all day long. And I just feel like, I don't think he's integral to the way we play. I don't think if you took Trossard out and replaced him with, let's say,
Sarmiento.
Or Sarmiento. Yeah, I wouldn't. Don't get me wrong. Trossard is above Sarmiento. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he's got a lot more to prove this.
I just feel like take him out of the team, and we won't miss him as much as other players. I just feel like 35 million. I'll take it all day long.
I'm right.
Well, I would go. I wouldn't say probably that harsh. I'd probably say that he is integral to what we've got at the moment. It depends on how we go in summer, because at the minute, we don't have anything else. It's as simple as that. We don't actually have any other options. So at the moment, yes, he's very, very important, because without him, we've actually got no options. But in the summer, if we bring in someone, then fine. It's... To be honest with you, this squad that we've got at the moment needs a refresh. Something needs to change a bit. It's quite stale. We've had it for a couple of years and it's not working. We've tried to change it up a little bit here and there. We signed Cucurella and Lam, two good signings, but they've been minimised because of the lack of defence. And obviously, I will say one good thing actually on defence just before we go fully onto Trossard is I want to say about Dunk as well. I thought Dunk had a really good game. For the first
Dunk
time
had Veltman, I think,
since he's coming back.
Veltman was
as well.
Good, yeah.
They look pretty good, albeit against a really, really lousy Norwich side. But it was good to see Dunk putting his chest in there again. I'd love to see it. But back on Trossard, I wouldn't be against him going at all. No. as long as we get a decent amount of money and we replace him with someone. But at the moment, if we don't have any replacements, then we're just going to keep getting weaker and slide down the leagues very, very quickly. So it depends on the summer.
Also, we've got probably like 10 minutes left, so we'll move on to the Arsenal preview. We actually, despite saying a lot of the same stuff, or we kind of talked about a few different topics today, which has been quite refreshing. And we actually still had some left that I could have asked, but we'll probably save that for next week. So let's move on to the Arsenal preview. Is anyone going? Because I'm thankfully not. You go, Brian.
Yeah.
So
making a trip. I don't know why.
We'll start with you, and obviously we haven't even mentioned it, but Jakub Moder torn ACLs, which is absolutely devastating for the lads. Like, he deserved to go to that World Cup, and we probably won't see him for 6 to 9 months. It's actually, I'm actually devastated for him. So we won't see him. But I mean, Ryan, obviously going from that kind of really sad note, will it be even more depressing at the Emirates at full time?
I mean, Arsenal are very good now. They're very good now. Arteta's got them playing as well.
Manager of the month.
And little thing for Moder. I feel for Moder. It must be horrible being that age and you on the brink of a World Cup and doing your ACL like that.
They literally just qualified as well. Like they qualified 3 days before.
It's horrible.
And he's loved by them. He's loved by that country as well.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard to deal with.
That's the gutting thing.
But hopefully Moder has a speedy recovery and it's not too bad. But depends really. It could be up to a year or whatever. So hopefully he's okay. But going on to Arsenal then, obviously if Moder is, he's going to be out, isn't he? So Alzate maybe comes back in, would be quite nice to see him in there. I don't think we actually missed Bissouma too much against Norwich, funnily enough. I thought we were actually all right without him, funnily. I'd quite like to see Alzate in. It'd be interesting to see how we cope against a difficult side, because obviously we're against Norwich and we did run them ragged. We should have just scored more goals. Against Arsenal, we're not going to have that joy coming up against Ben White FC. I'm pretty worried. I'm not going to lie, because they have the potential to really, really do us on next Saturday, isn't it? So I'm a bit concerned. To be fair, I think this could be a 2 or 3-0 win for Arsenal if they turn up. They've got Saka and etc. I know you need to go through their team. They've got Odegaard playing very well. I'm worried, very worried. I don't know why I'm going. To be fair, it's literally just for a day out with my dad. That's the only reason I'm going.
The fact that we kind of went back to a back five. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we played a back five again, didn't we? Well, for the first time recently against Norwich. After the fans have been calling for it, so that is some improvement, because we've been calling for it a lot. But Maz, I know we played Mark Cucurella at left centre back, and he obviously thinks that he's better than Hayden Roberts and Ed Turns at centre back, which is ludicrous. But is that one positive going into Arsenal, that we're going to be playing a back five, Maz?
Well, yes. I've been calling for a back five the whole time, and I even tweeted about it. Like when I saw the lineup on against Norwich, when I saw Cucurella wasn't playing at left wing back, I'm pretty sure he was playing left centre back, wasn't he?
Yeah, left centre back.
I'm just like, why? It's just such a wasted. It's a very wasted talent. Get Cucurella and Lamptey in their natural positions. Play them left wing back, right wing back. Have a back three centre back pairing of whoever, just not Cucurella, and just play a back five with them in their natural positions. And I promise you, we will do much better. I promise.
Maz, on your point, I actually feel for Hayden Roberts so bad, because you're talking about wasted talent. That's a year of his career. Ed Turns questionably hasn't obviously done enough probably to prove. But Hayden Roberts, we've basically wasted a year of his career.
Send him out alone. Send him out alone. At least
I feel so bad for the guy. I feel so bad for Hayden Roberts, because he's literally he was thriving, and then we've given him this season to potentially break into this first team, and we've been dangling this carrot in front of his face for the last, how long's the season gone? 6 months or so. Yeah. I just feel gutted for him. If I was him, I'd be fuming. I'd have been thinking, my God, why didn't I?
Do we drop anyone? Because we've got to kind of talk a bit more about Arsenal. Do we drop anyone for that game? Like, do we drop any of the big hitters like Trossard? When I say big hitters, big hitters. There's Maupay. Should Maupay be dropped? But
I put this tweet out.
Get Welbeck rid. Get rid of Welbeck. That's for me. I just drop him. Yeah.
I thought Welbeck was all right.
No, I don't. I just feel like we benefit better. I'd rather see. Because who was it? Was Mac even? Did Mac start? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was unreal.
Yeah, he was unreal. Wait, who was on the bench that I thought? Right, that's it. I'll take out Welbeck and put Sarmiento in there. I'll just have that with Maupay, Sarmiento and Maupay is the sort of like
Welbeck did well.
I don't know. I feel like for me, he misses quite a few chances. Welbeck, like he scores, he misses more chances than he scores. But I do agree with you. He does offer something different. He has that, his hold up play is brilliant. He can run the channels really well. But I just feel like
Maupay gets in the positions that I wish Welbeck was in. Like Maupay's so good at getting into really good positions, but then his finishing is poor.
Welbeck
whereas I feel
makes
like
the good runs,
Welbeck
he just
would
sort
make
of-
the better. Yeah, he does. But
He just gets unlucky, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
Welbeck. He gets a bit of the, like against Norwich. He seemed to make the right runs every time. He was in behind. He was causing the defence problems, but then he just never got the ball. And when he did get the ball, he'd take an unfortunate sort of deflection. It would just go wide of him or something. And I felt a bit bad for him at times. And he didn't really get, that I can think of, a real clear cut chance. Welbeck.
Going back to Arsenal quickly, Ryan. We obviously, when we played them at home, I think we deserved to win that. As obviously a really, really rainy game. Finished 0-0. Arsenal kind of got away with it, but it's so much has changed now. They're flying. They're on the 5 wins in 6 games. And back then when we played them originally, we were the favourites, but now they are the favourites. Football changes quickly. I just think it's going to be a difficult afternoon.
Yeah.
To go on your point about squad selection, and I put that tweet on about Potter should make a point. Just drop all of our attacking players and just go for it with the youngsters. And I got told that this is a stupid thing, and I completely agree. It's a stupid comment, right? But my point isn't because of playing the youngsters, just chuck the youth in. That's not the point of the comment. My point is hit back. I want Potter to show, look, if they're not going to back me or anything, hit back. Say, look, this is all I've got. Yeah. If you're not going to back me with signings, you're not going to give me strikers. I ain't got a choice. I'm going to have to drop these guys and have to put these guys in. That's what Potter should. That was my point of my tweet. Hit back at them. Should look, say, right, I can't. If Maupay's going to miss sitters, fine. I'll put in the next best alternative. That's Evan Ferguson. Yeah, I'll put in Evan Ferguson then. And if Trossard's going to, to be fair, he had a good game. But if you're going to drop him, I've got to put Sarmiento in there, another youth player. You know what I mean?
But he's not doing that though, Ryan. This is what I don't understand though. Potter's not doing. He's not doing.
No, but that's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. If he should do that, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't think he will though. I don't think he will.
B1.
He's had multiple chances to do that. It's like I think we said it. All of us said it like 3 pods ago or 2 pods ago. It's like right, we're at a stage where I think at that point we were like 4 losses in a row or 5 losses in a row. It's like at that point we got nothing to lose, and we've said this every week. It's like we've got nothing to lose right now. Like okay, what? Okay, so if we went from 6 losses to 7 losses, who cares? Like at this stage, who cares? So just put in Roberts at centre back, put in Sarmiento in attacking position.
This is a proper baptism of fire. Like we're playing against Arsenal, one of the most informed teams in the league now, with the manager just got man of the month.
I get that.
I get the confidence.
Norwich would have been the time to do that, but this is just going to be a really
that's true. That's true. With Arsenal, let's not mess about. Let's put in.
But the trouble is, we haven't got any more sort of smaller clubs left to play. I'm pretty sure, apart from Southampton. I'm pretty sure it's Tottenham. We've got City. We've got United.
We've got Leeds away. Might be the more.
Leeds maybe West Ham in there.
I don't have any other teams.
Games now.
Yeah, I think Leeds
very difficult games.
Leeds are the only team that are below us that we've got left to play. I believe. I might be wrong.
And that's at Ellen Road anyway, so anything can really happen. That's a bit of a. So when I say put the youth in, obviously I'm not saying it sort of because I want to just throw the youth in. I'm not saying that because I understand it's obviously not a sustainable way of running the football club. It's not a sustainable way of developing players. But my point is, if we've got no other choice, go for it. You know what I mean? So even if it's literally just throwing Sarmiento and Caicedo in, I would rather see just them integrated in a little bit more now, because the squad needs a refresh. We're not doing it. Something's not working. We need to change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Change it up. Take out Maupay, take out Welbeck if you want. Put in Ferguson. That's about it. That's all we've really got to play with.
And hopefully, if this does happen, if our wishes are answered, the youngsters will be bang up for it. And I would love to see Moises Caicedo bring in there, because he's obviously had a really good international break as well. I guess let's do score predictions before Maz has to shoot, and we all have to shoot. Who wants to start first with their prediction?
I'll go. I'll go. Okay. Look, I don't want to be a negative Nelly, but unfortunately, I think I'm being more of a realist here. Arsenal, just to quickly summarise, Arsenal playing unreal. Odegaard, for me, is looking incredible. Even Lacazette's scoring goals. Saka, just looking across their team. Going forward, they look very good. And defensively, they look very solid. Ben White's obviously completely changed their back line, which is quite depressing to talk about. Just to be a realist, I'm gonna go with a 2-0 Arsenal win, unfortunately.
And Ryan?
I must admit, it does reek of a 2-0 loss.
Yeah.
I think the trouble is, as we've said, if we If we play like we have been, okay, what Norwich you played all right, but I think, yeah, as you say, Arsenal are too good for us. I don't want to go over everything that we've already said, but yeah, maybe 2-0 with my head. But if I'm going to be really, really, really hopeful, maybe Maupay can come and surprise some, come up with something with the Hyper Turk, hopefully, at the Emirates. He loves scoring in London.
He loves playing against Arsenal as well.
Yeah, he loves playing against Arsenal. He loves playing in London. A night out in London would be very, very nice, but I can't see it happening. But it would be nice to see something, just a bit of excitement, a bit of injection of pace. Maybe see Sarmiento or Caicedo in there. But yeah. Probably 2-0 with my head. But if I'm really being hopeful, maybe a 1-0 win, but I can't see it happening.
And I was probably thinking 3, but I reckon I'll go 2-0. So yeah, 2-0 across the board, innit? So if you are going to Arsenal, I'm sorry.
Look what you've done to us.
Look what you've done
to us.
Well, look what's the first podcast, to the world.
Right? Before people say like, because I've been called negative poison and stuff, yeah. Before people come on and say, yeah, negative, whatever. Look at the podcast at the beginning of the season, the first 4, 5, 6 games, September, October. Look at how positive we were, talking about Europe, talking about Webster for England. Yeah, watch them before you come and say we're negative.
Even 2 months ago,
now
mate.
Look at us.
Even 2 months ago, it was that famous North Stand chat, whisper it quietly. Brighton are 3 points from Europe, 7 points above Palace, 16 points above the relegation zone. What a time to be alive!
Talking to Palace just quickly, they're playing Arsenal tonight, so that'll be quite interesting to see how that pans out. They're playing tonight, aren't they? Arsenal Palace. That'll be interesting to see how that pans out, I suppose.
But boys, thank you very much for joining me and obviously shedding light on what is the terrible, terrible time that's going on at our club. Hopefully, if you are listening, we've got a few points and got a few things off our chest that you will also relate to. I'm glad that we've spoken about, and hopefully we've kind of put you at some sort of ease. Again, it's literally therapy. So we're just going to start charging you guys soon. Yeah. We have therapy sessions on our Patreon coming soon. Ryan, thank you very much for coming. Maz, again, thanks for joining us, of course. And if you did enjoy it, which I'll be surprised, give it a like. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. And also give it a review on Apple and Spotify. And we will see you next week.
Peace.